Hello, welcome. This is Contract and Organization Theory. I'm going to give you some basic information about this course. As you can see, this is an online lecture. I'll upload videos on YouTube, and the videos will stay there for the semester. My name is Sang-Hyun Kim. I'm an associate professor. My email address is here, sangkim at yonsei.ac.kr. Office hour. I'm not sure about the office hour. I'm thinking about it. We have more than 200 students, and it's not easy to have office hours with 200 students. I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to have Q&A session or office hour. I may have it using Zoom or I don't know, maybe we will do it just online, like, you just upload, you just post your questions on Q&A board, and then I will answer. Maybe that will work. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know what we'll do for the Q&A. And target students are the juniors and seniors majoring economics. Prerequisites. The mathematics for economics, for sure, you have to take mathematics before you take this course. And intermediate microeconomics and game theory are not really necessary. I mean, you may not take these two courses, intermediate microeconomics and game theory, but I recommend you take these courses because we will use some concepts from this, especially game theory. We'll use the concepts from game theory. Some students ask me, what's the relationship between game theory and contract theory? The relationship is like this. The game theory is like computer language, like Java or C, C++, or like what? Or Python. Game theory is like this. Game theory is a language. It's not exactly a theory like, contract theory, but contract theory is like program, or is something like computer program. So using language, we write a program. So game theory is mathematical theory, and we are going to just use it. We are going to use those languages. So that's why we need game theory. So I strongly recommend you to take game theory course before you take this course. But if you do not want, if you just want to take this course, then that's okay. And our TA is Myunghwan Lee. Here is his email address. And evaluation, we'll have these three, homework and 2 take-home exams and 1 reading assignment. So homework will account for 20%, and we'll have 2 take-home exams, which means you don't have to come to the university. You can take this exam at home. And last semester I gave like 5 hours. Okay, so I just post the problem, and in 5 hours everybody submit their work. So, but it was not really difficult. Most students submit their work within 2 hours. So 5 hours is much more than enough. And it'll be similar. And each take-home exam will account for 20%, and the remaining 40% will be evaluated by reading assignment. And textbook is the contract theory written by Patrick Bolton and Matthias Dietrichpunkt. And I'm going to explain this reading assignment a bit more. So for reading assignment, you are supposed to read this book, the ORG, the underlying logic of the office. It's about what's happening inside firms. So it must be a very interesting read, and it's very closely related to the topics and issues that we'll discuss in this course. So it's a very good complement, or it's good supplement for our course. So read this book, and compare. So you take this course, you watch videos in this course, and you read this book, and you are supposed to write an essay which will account for 40% of your final grade, and the essay must be connecting the concepts or some models you learn in this course and the examples or some ideas in the book. So you connect the book to the course materials. That's how you write the essay. That's what you are supposed to write in your essay. And your essay is like 5 pages long. I'm going to announce the detail of the reading assignment, the due date and the length or the whatever on YSEC. So check out the YSEC regularly. And this book is translated to Korean, so you can read the translated version of it, or Korean version or Chinese version or whatever version, whatever language that you are familiar with. But your essay must be written in English, okay? And there's one thing I want to emphasize now and probably later again. Submit all your work in PDF. So submit your work in one single file, a single PDF file. Okay, I'm saying this because last semester some students just took picture of their work and upload like 5 files, 5 JPG files or GIF files. Okay, that's fine, but it's not really easy to print it or easy to download it, especially when there are more than 200 students. Okay, so just help us, help my TA and help me, just submit your work in a single PDF file. Okay, I emphasize, I'll repeat this later. A textbook, Contract Theory, written by Patrick Bolton and Matthias Dürertripunkt. It's a very nice book. But the thing is, it's expensive, very expensive, and it's a bit difficult for undergraduate students to understand because it's basically a graduate level textbook. It's for graduate students. So what I want to say is you don't have to buy this. I'll try to make this course as self-sufficient as possible or as complete as possible, so you can understand everything without reading this book. That's my goal. But so what I mean is you don't have to buy this book if you do not want. If you do not want, don't buy this book. But it's a very nice book. And if you are interested in studying more, like if you are planning to go to graduate school, then it's not a bad idea to buy this book and read it because it's a very nice book. All right. And about grade, you will get F if you are absent for more than 1/3. But given our circumstance, it's not really easy to check the attendance, so this is not really binding constraint, so you don't have to worry about getting F. By the way, I'll check the attendance using the homeworks. There'll be like 4 or 5 homeworks, but I'll not grade the homework. I'll just check. I'll use the homework for the attendance check. You just submit it, then I'll just check the attendance. Okay, I'll not grade it, and then I'll just later explain how to solve the problems in the homework. And some students will get A, some students will get B. I didn't write specific numbers here. I didn't specify how many students, how what the exact proportion of students who will get A or B. All I can say now is I'm going to be very generous. I was very generous in previous semesters, and I'm going to be very generous in this semester. Given this circumstance, it's not really easy to evaluate you know, more than 200 students. So, but if you do not submit your work, if you do not submit your homework, or if you write the really horrible essay, then you may get C or D. It is possible. So, do your best for yourself. Okay. Just focus on what you learn. Don't think too much about grade. You'll get good grade if you study hard. Just try to take as much as possible from this course. That will be your goal. That should be your goal, right? So you'll get good grade. So don't worry too much about grade. And no negotiation about grade. It is illegal to negotiate over grade now in Korea. So don't email me about your grade. Okay, so that's about the course, and I'm going to explain what this contract theory is about. So in 2016, Nobel Prize in Economic Science is given to these two guys, Oliver Hart and Ben Holmstrom, for their contribution, their pioneering contribution to contract theory. So you can Google like contract theory, Nobel Prize, popular science background, then you'll find this document. It's a nice summary of the contribution of Oliver Hart and Ben Holmstrom, and it's also a nice summary of contract theory itself. So I strongly recommend you to read this document. I'm going to post this in YSEC, so you can just download it from YSEC. And actually, I want to make this as the first assignment. I'm not going to check whether you actually have done it or not, but just take this as an assignment. Okay, so I'm not going to check it whether you have done it or not, but let's say this is an assignment. Read this document. Okay, read this popular science background document. So that's the first assignment, and see what it is about, and see whether you like it or not. Okay. So let me explain. Let me summarize the document. Let me summarize the summary. Okay. So contract theory. So what is contract and what is contract theory? So that's the first topic that these two paragraphs are discussing. So contracts help us to be cooperative and trusting when we may otherwise be disobliging and distrusting. As employees, we have employment contracts. As borrowers, we have credit contracts. So we know what contracts are, and we feel like we are familiar with contracts, right? And the functionality of contracts, it helps us to be cooperative and trusting. And contract theory, what is contract theory? Contract theory provides us with a general means of understanding contract design. So that's what economic theories do, right? So it provides us some means of understanding some social economic phenomenon, right? So contract theory provides us a means of understanding contract design. One of the theory's goals is to explain why contracts have various forms and designs. Another goal is to help us work out how to draw up better contracts, thereby shaping better institutions in society. So there are two goals written here. One is positive, the other is normative, right? So I hope you are familiar with these concepts. Positive and normative. Positive means what it is. It's about the state of the world, the current state of the world. What it is, it's just description of the world. So the first goal is we want to understand the world, right? We want to understand why the contracts look like them, look like that, for now. And the second goal is normative. So it's about what it should be, right? So we want to design a better world. We want to design a better society, better institution, better contract. So the second goal is normative. The contract theory helps us to draw up a better contract and better institutions. All right, and then we move on to the specific topics. And the first topic that the document is discussing, and also it's the topic that we'll discuss after this. I mean, that this is the first topic that we'll discuss in this semester, and that is the tension between insurance and incentive. And here is my plan. So I'm going to explain this idea for weeks, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, to make sure everybody understands the basic, most fundamental and interesting idea, which is the tension between insurance and incentive. And over weeks, I'm going to repeat these phrase again and again: the tension between insurance and incentive, the tension between insurance and incentive. And you get sick of me speaking of the tension between insurance and incentives. But then, the good side is, you'll understand, you'll get familiar with this idea. So what is this? If you have vehicle insurance, it is unlikely that you will be fully reimbursed if you have an accident. So if you have a car accident, then you will get reimbursed because you will be you or some other people have the auto insurance, but that will not fully covered. I mean, the damage will not fully covered. The thing is, full insurance invites moral hazard. So if everything is covered, so damage is fully covered, then people will drive carelessly. So some of the responsibilities must be taken by the driver as well. So if the insurance is fully reimbursing the damage, then the drivers will drive carelessly. So we are talking about the incentive for the driver to drive carefully and the insurance. So there is tension between insurance and incentive, and we'll see where this tension comes from, and how we can mitigate it, and so on. And the next topic, which is very much related to the previous topic, is paying for performance. The first major insights were derived in the context of employment contracts involving risk-averse agent employees whose action could not be directly observed by the principal employer. Instead, the principal could only imperfectly observe a measure of the agent's performance. For example, in our context, you study hard, and that's what I want. But the thing is, you may not want to study hard because studying hard is, exhausting, and the problem is, I do not observe your effort. I do not observe your action. I do not know how many hours you studied. All I can observe is your report, your exam scores, your homeworks. So that's a proxy for your effort or your action, right? So there is asymmetric information problem between you and me, right? So your action or your effort is unobserved by me. Instead, I just observe some outcomes of your effort. I just observe the exam scores, or I just observe your essay. All right. So this is the key. key idea. There is asymmetric information problem between agent and principal. A central result, I'm reading the second paragraph now. So a central result published separately and independently by Ben Holmstrom and Steve Chabel in 1979 is that an optimal contract should link payment to all outcomes that can potentially provide information about actions that have been taken. So the payment should be linked to all outcomes. This sounds reasonable, right? Maybe not. But I'm saying that this result, this statement is not obvious. We'll see later in detail, but it's not obvious. It's not trivial. So paying the payment or the wage must be linked to all outcomes that can potentially provide information about the actions. This sounds reasonable, but it's not trivial. This is quite deep and interesting. And then we will also discuss this topic: strong incentive versus balanced incentive. So people thought at first strong incentive is always better than weak incentive, but it turns out that in some situations, balanced incentive or weak incentive is better than strong incentive. And as a matter of fact, we observe very weak incentive or no incentive at all in reality. And there are some ways to explain why we do not observe very strong incentive in reality. And one explanation is this. The first paragraph I'm reading. In an article published in 1982, Holmstrom analyzed a dynamic situation in which an employee's current salary does not explicitly depend on his performance. Instead, the employee is motivated to work hard due to concern about his career and future salary. So this paragraph is describing is talking about career concern, and we'll see the model of career concern later in this semester. And the second paragraph is describing the situation or the model of multitasking. So let me read this second paragraph. To deter the employee from concentrating on tasks for which performance is easier to measure, it may be best to offer weak overall incentive. So when there are multiple tasks, it may be best to offer a weak incentive. So that's another topic that we'll discuss later in this semester. And we'll also discuss incomplete contract. So, parties are frequently unable to realistically articulate detailed contract terms in advance. This is the domain of incomplete contract. And this is a very big idea. It's related to the theory of firm, and it's also related to the property right, So it's quite complex and deep, profound ideas. So we'll only briefly discuss this idea later in this semester, probably at the end of the semester. And that's what we'll discuss in this semester. And probably you find this a bit difficult to understand. So that will be the same when you read the document that I recommend you to read, the popular science background document. So my goal is, after this, I'm going to explain each topics discussed in the document. So after this semester, I hope that you find reading and understanding the document much easier, right? Much easier than now. Okay, so that's my goal. I'm going to help you to understand the document. All right. So we will follow the document. So read the document and see how much you understand now. I want to add few more words about contract and organization theory. So the starting point is Aeroduple Model. It's also called the general equilibrium model. So the basic assumptions are these. The market is complete, and information is symmetric, and people are price takers. So what do I mean by market is complete? Market completeness means that market there is market for pretty much everything. So if you want to buy something, then there is market for that, which is somewhat unrealistic. And information is symmetric. What do I mean by that? Information. So information may not be perfect, right? So maybe we don't know the weather of tomorrow, or we don't know the stock price of tomorrow, right? So we do not know many things. That means information is imperfect, but they assume information is symmetric, so they allow the information be imperfect, but they assume information is symmetric, which means that if there is something I do not know, then you also do not know, and if there is something you do not know, then I also do not know. So there is no asymmetric information problem. So imperfectness or imperfection is symmetric. Okay, so if there is something you don't know, then I also do not know about that. And people are price takers. Okay, so what that means is people are not strategic players. They just take the prices as given, and they just play along. And given these assumptions, under these assumptions, they show that there exists a market equilibrium which attains a Pareto efficient allocation, and also any Pareto efficient allocation can be achieved as a market equilibrium. So you are familiar with these statements, and that is Aeroduple model. And we depart from the Aeroduple model by relaxing some of the assumptions, especially the assumption about information. So we are interested in situation where the information is asymmetric. For example, we are interested in situation where there is some asymmetric information problem about action or effort. So for example, your effort is not observed by me, so I just can observe the exam scores, right? So I want to give you an incentive to study hard, but all I can do is checking the exam scores and see and guess whether you studied hard or not. Okay, and we will also assume that people are not price takers but strategic players, strategic agents. Okay, so they try to influence others. They are more active rather than passive. Okay. And contract and organization theory is the analysis of the formal and informal arrangements among strategic agents under the shadow of asymmetric information. And we'll see that common contract forms and institutions that we take for granted, like employment contracts and ownership rights, are sophisticated and multifaceted institutions. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the description of this course, and I recorded the videos, my lecture videos, last semester, and I'm going to use them. And also, I want to give you some taste of this course, to help you decide whether to take this course or not, whether to drop this course or not. Okay, so this is a typical slide that you'll see in this course. So it describes some model which is called basic principal agent model, which is the first model that we'll see in this course. So it describes a game between two players. We consider a negotiation over a labor contract. So there are two players. P stands for principal, A stands for agent. So P, the principal, makes a take it or leave it offer to the agent. That's the first stage action. And the second stage is the agent's decision whether to accept the offer or not. And if the agent accepts the offer, then the agent decides how much effort he would exert for the work. And later, the output X is realized and the wage is paid accordingly. And the output X is a function of A and epsilon. What is this small a and small epsilon? So small a stands for action or effort, and epsilon is a random component or luck. So output is action. Output is a function of action and luck. So you don't have to understand this right now, because I'm going to explain this later much more slowly and in detail. What I'm doing now is I'm giving you a taste of this course. Okay, you'll see this kind of slides over the course, and if you're not familiar with this kind of math, then maybe this course is not for you. Again, as I said earlier, the only textbook that we can use is graduate level textbook, which means this course is, or the topics that's discussed in this course is actually for graduate students, but I make everything very simple and understandable for you guys. But if you're not familiar with this kind of mathematical models, then maybe this is not for you. Okay, and the description of the model goes on, and I also want to show you an example of homework. So here there are two homeworks, and again, you don't have to do this now. Later, this will appear in the slides or lecture. So here we have two homeworks. I'm just showing you just examples. You don't have to do this right now. You will see this later. And typically, I give you 1 week to do the homework. And you just do this kind of homework and make your work as a single PDF file and upload it to YSEC, and then we'll check whether you submit or not. And again, I'll not grade your homework. I'll just use it for the attendance check. Okay, but let me rephrase it. So I'll not grade the homework, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to do the homework. I'm giving you a chance to think about this issue, and I'm giving you a chance to improve your understanding on this issue. So please do the homework, do your best, and you don't have to be really correct. So don't be stressed out. This just do your best. Just use this opportunity to improve your understanding. So I'll not grade your homework, but if you submit a empty sheet, that doesn't count. Okay, if you submit some random poem or random whatever, something unrelated to this homework, that doesn't count. Okay, so do the homework. You'll be given like 1 week, and yeah, and then later I'll explain how to solve these problems. Alright, that's pretty much it. As a matter of fact, this is the second time I'm recording this video. There is something wrong. There was something wrong in the recording, so I'm doing this second time. So that's the reason why my voice is so down. I'm sorry about that. And later, yeah, hopefully my voice will be more cheerful and yeah, what else? Yeah, I will just upload or upload the videos that I used in the previous semester, or I'll just uh, open it up to the public. Then you will see you will be able to see the videos one by one, and the videos will stay there for the entire semester. So you can watch the videos whenever you want, and you can watch the videos as many times as you want. All right. I hope you find this discussion interesting, and I hope you find this course and this issue interesting. I hope you learn a lot from this course. All right, that's it. Bye.